Yo, it's your boy the Purist and we're here to talk boxing. We're back with another Q and A. Thank you again for the questions. Let's get straight into it. Who has the best body punches / body work in boxing today? So I'll give you my top 3 body punches. At number 3, I'll have Canelo. We've seen what he done to the likes of Rocky Fielding. Even Golovkin in that second fight, he was punishing him with them liver shots. I don't know how Golovkin was able to take them. Before I would have had Golovkin above Canelo, but we saw when they fought against each other. I think in the 24 rounds that they fought, Golovkin landed less than 10 body punches. So when you're against the biggest fight of your career and you don't have that many body punches, I can't really have you in my top 5. Canelo, on the other hand, did have a lot of body punches that he administered. Number 2 will be Errol Spence Jr. His body work is beautiful, it's immense, it's consistent, which is a good thing as well, and it's pretty much the focal point of his style. But number 1 will have to be Naoya Inoue. His body punching is ridiculous, especially for someone of that weight class with that kind of power, where one punch and you're feeling it for the rest of the night. It's ridiculous. It is incredible. So I'll have to put Naoya Inoue as my number 1 body puncher. When he goes downstairs, it's a thing of beauty and it's consistent. And although it's not the main part of his game, he's so multifaceted that everything he does is extraordinary and on point. And as soon as he gets his man hurt, he goes straight downstairs to the body. And that's what I like about him the most. Devin Haney versus Mikey Garcia. Who would win that fight? I'm gonna walk you through how I have the thinking of this fight. Against Errol Spence, we saw Mikey take a beating. He didn't get knocked out, which in some cases I do believe can be worse. Yes, he went 12 rounds, but he took a lot of punishment. And him even going up to 147, ballooning up to that weight, putting on all that extra mass, that's gonna have a knock-on effect if he does decide to move down. Especially now that he's fighting Danny Garcia. After that fight, he will never be a fully fledged 147 fighter. He will always be able to cut down and go to a lower weight. And when he does decide to go down to a lower weight, he will not be the same fighter. If he was to somehow make 135, I do believe he will be too far diminished to really be a big threat towards anyone. So if he does go down to 135, I do believe Devin Haney will take him, simply because Mikey won't be the same fighter. And for him to beat someone of the likes of Devin Haney, you would need to be 100%, at least 90-95% beat Devin Haney. Since he won't be that, I would have to take Devin Haney in that fight against him. I don't think he can ever go to 135 and be elite again. He will be much too weight drained, and that's why I don't like the fact he went up to 147. He will never be the fighter he could have been at his natural weight class. At 140, I do believe that would be better for him, but I just don't see how he can be that same fighter once he's getting beaten up by bigger guys and then having to cut weight. It's just not going to work out. Win or lose, where do you see Josh Taylor going after the World Boxing Super Series? I do believe he has a deal with Matchroom lined up, and they really need UK talent that can headline in the UK and sell a lot of tickets. So we're going to go down that path. With his cachet and the 140 division not having that many big marquee names, he will be able to line up a title shot very, very quickly, especially if it goes with Eddie Hearn. Because I believe Maurice Hooker is facing Jose Ramirez in a unification. I don't rate Ramirez whatsoever, I can't lie. I've never been high on him. He ducked Regis Prograis, he ducked the tournament, and I do believe Hooker will deal with him. I don't rate Hooker that highly, but I do believe he's a solid fighter. So we're going to have a situation where if you say Taylor loses like I expect him to, then it's going to be Prograis with 2 belts, Hooker with 2 belts. It just makes sense for them to become undisputed. Prograis, as I always said, is his intention to become undisputed. Hooker is you know what, I just feel so awkward calling the guy Hooker. It's just so weird. But yeah, Hooker, what's his name? Yeah, Maurice will have 2 belts. Prograis will have 2 belts. Maurice taking this unification shows he wants to collect the belts. If they were to go against each other, it would be a good fight. I do believe Prograis will take that one as well. And then a rematch with Taylor could always happen. He will work himself back up to a mandatory if he does lose. And with the Eddie Hearn, he has the likes of Ricky Burns, Crawler, whoever. Will just give him someone at 140 in a big domestic matchup. If he was to win the tournament, and then he will go straight into that undisputed fight with Hooker, both Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, the Zone. They'll just put them together. Simple, bish bash bosh. We've got undisputed champion at 140 pounds. If Galahad and Warrington have a rematch, who will win? I won't know because I will not watch that fight. Fucking awful. What do you think will happen if Ruiz goes in against Fury? Same thing I believe will happen if anyone goes against Fury. They get scored, they get outboxed, and Fury picks up a 12-round decision. But Ruiz is a much smaller guy. Fury, what I've noticed about Ruiz is he's not good at cutting off the ring. For a pressure fighter like him, he's so good at so many things, but cutting off the ring is not his strong point. I remember against Anthony Joshua when Joshua was hurt that round, the first one he went down, the next round he came out, he was not trying to engage, he was not trying to do anything, and then Ruiz literally dropped his hand and said like, bro, we're not fighting. And then Joshua goes, I need to get my breath back, nigga. Like chill. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm just trying to get my breath back. So he's not able to cut off the ring. You see it against Joseph Parker again. Like, he's not that good at cutting off the ring. So against Tyson Fury with his movement, that's the first thing you need. You just need to cut off that ring and get him where you want him. On the inside, of course, Ruiz is a much superior fighter. When it does get to the inside, Tyson Fury will be in a lot of trouble. But I just don't see enough pressure from Ruiz to constantly get him on the inside. How do you think Usyk does as a heavyweight? With Usyk's style and his pedigree, he's going to pose problems for everyone. I'll say stylistically, the bad matchups for him would be Fury, who looks like a bigger version of him, possibly even more versatile with Fury being able to go orthodox, southpaw, etc. Deontay Wilder, of course, like, to say you're going to outbox Deontay Wilder is not like a big statement. It happens regularly. Like, it's not like a surprise. So someone of Usyk's stature outboxing Wilder, it's not a surprise, but it's the question, as always, can he avoid that right hand for 12 rounds? And that's a question that is still to be answered. Of course, he will be picking up the points, but can he avoid that right hand? I don't know. Anthony Joshua is a better fight for him because although Joshua is a better boxer and Usyk will lose rounds to Joshua, the problem is Joshua doesn't have that one punch eraser. Of course, he could hurt Usyk, possibly drop him, but I don't know if he has that power to just completely take Usyk out, especially the way Usyk rolls and parries the punches. So I think that's a bad style matchup for Joshua, and I do believe Usyk will take that. I was saying that before Usyk even entered the World Boxing Super Series that he will beat Anthony Joshua. Like, that's how much confidence I had in him and still have in him. Like, he proved me right that he is of that elite level. And now moving up to heavyweight, I just see Fury being too big stylistically for him and too awkward, and just the question mark over Wilder's right hand. I would pick Usyk over Wilder, but you never know with that right hand, especially as Usyk being the much smaller man. So yeah, as a heavyweight, I do believe he's a top 3, 4, 5 heavyweight, and he will be a big player in the division. He soon has his WBO mandatory, which he can enforce. I think he wants 2 like warm-up fights at heavyweight, and after that he's gonna go straight to whoever's on top. Should Canelo fight Andre to become undisputed champion, have a trilogy with GGG, or move up to super middleweight and fight Callum Smith? The answer for me is I want to see an undisputed champion. Even further than that, it would be so funny for Golovkin, who said he wanted all the belts but instead decided to chase Canelo, and then Canelo beats him and then becomes undisputed and has all the belts. That would just be like perfect irony for me. It would just make my day. I just find that very funny. So for me, it's not just the Golovkin part, but I genuinely want to see an undisputed champion. I want to see how good Andrade is mixing it up with the top middleweights, and yeah. So just everything for me just says undisputed. Plus for Canelo's legacy, to say I was the undisputed champion, I was the man and no one could tell me anything. That would be a good look for him. The Golovkin trilogy is always there. He can fight undisputed and then take the trilogy and make it even bigger. For the undisputed middleweight title, Canelo Golovkin, that's massive. For the Callum Smith fight, the undisputed champion moving up to conquer his new division just makes much more sense. I think he's going to stay away from Smith. That's a dangerous fight. I'm not sure he wants to stick at 168 for too long, but yeah, for me, I need him to fight Andrade. Pick a realistic but good fight for Tyson Fury next. To be honest, like with everyone tied up, it's not slim pickings at heavyweight, but it's the same recycled names. Someone like Povetkin next, which will be a good fight. Like, get him back into that shape, that world title level caliber opponent. Povetkin, Pulev, that would be good. I think Pulev, I'm not sure how long Pulev is banned, but a Pulev fight would be decent, although their styles could sort of clash. And when I say clash, I mean in a bad way, like a Warrington Galahad kind of bad way. I think Joseph Parker's tied up, but that would have been a good one. To be honest, I think those are his only 2 elite options, Pulev or Povetkin, and I can probably guarantee he won't fight either. Probably look for an undefeated fighter of the likes of what's his name? You know that guy, the German, Schwartz. That's it. I don't ever want to remember his name again. Hopefully that's the last time I ever say his name. But yeah, we'll probably get an opponent like that we won't care about. But again, Pulev, Povetkin those are the two best options I could probably fight. If you are seeing this video, it was taken from one of our Patreon posts, and we've put a segment of it on YouTube. If you want to watch the whole thing, hit the link in the description, sign up. It's only $1. You get weekly boxing topics, report cards, all the good stuff you know about. Just hit the link in the description, you won't regret it. Thank you for everyone who signed up. Thank you for those who are going to sign up. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.